She told me it was a team-building retreat, a weekend at a cabin with her coworkers. No partners, no drama, just bonding, workshops, and too much instant coffee. I believed her because it sounded boring, and boring is what people tell the truth about. If you enjoy real relationship stories with a clear ending, consider subscribing. Now let me tell you how a single forgotten charger made me stop excusing what my gut already knew. Her name was Madison. We had been together a little over 2 years, living together for 8 months, a place we could finally call ours. Nothing fancy. A clean apartment with mismatched furniture we slowly upgraded. A couch I bought used. A kitchen table she insisted had to be real wood. A plant that somehow survived despite both of us forgetting to water it until it looked personally offended. Madison was the kind of girlfriend people described as put together. She woke up early. She kept her nails done. Her hair always looked like it had a plan. She worked in marketing for a mid-sized company and talked about projects like they were living things. Always growing, always needing attention. She was ambitious. I respected that. I liked that she had goals beyond the relationship. I worked in logistics. Not glamorous, but stable. I liked stability. I liked knowing where money went and what the next month looked like. Madison teased me for being obsessed with calendars and bills. Then she leaned on me for that exact thing. It made us feel like a team. The first time she brought up the retreat, it was casual. Her manager wanted the whole department to go up to a cabin for 2 nights. Some company-owned place, apparently. Sessions during the day. Group dinners at night. She acted like she was not excited, but also like she could not refuse. I asked where it was. Somewhere up north. A lake. No exact address yet. I asked who was going. She listed names I recognized. People she had complained about. People she had laughed with. Her manager. Her manager's boss. A few coworkers from other teams. I asked if partners were invited. Her answer came fast. No. Then she added that it would be better without partners anyway. People could relax. I nodded. I did not see a problem. That became the theme of the next few months. I did not see problems until they started stacking. A week before the retreat, Madison bought new clothes. A lot of new clothes. Not just a sweater or a pair of leggings, an entire new weekend persona. Boots that looked expensive. A jacket with a tag she left on by accident. A fitted dress she called a dinner dress. Not fancy, just for dinner. I joked about it. She rolled her eyes and reminded me that people took photos at these things. She did not want to look sloppy. That made sense. 2 days before leaving, she booked a hair appointment, highlights touched up, fresh blowout. I told her she looked great. She smiled with that proud, polished look. For a moment, it was sweet. Then the night before she left, something small got under my skin. She asked me to help her pack. Not because she needed help, because she wanted me to choose outfits with her. She stood in the bedroom holding 2 shirts up and asked which one looked better on her. I answered honestly. Then I noticed she kept choosing the tighter one no matter what I said. I told myself it was normal. People want to feel attractive, especially at work, where everything is about perception. Still, my gut noted it. The morning she left, she hugged me longer than normal. She kissed me twice. She said she would miss me. Then, as she walked out, she dropped one extra detail like it was a favor. The cabin had bad signal. She might be hard to reach. It sounded considerate. It also sounded like a pre-excuse. I watched her put her bag in her car. She paused, looked down at her phone, then slipped it into her jacket pocket like she was checking it was still there. She drove away, and I felt a strange unease. Not panic, not jealousy, just that feeling you get when something is slightly off, but you cannot point to a specific reason. The first day was quiet. She texted around lunchtime. They had arrived. She sent a photo of a lake, gray and flat, with trees in the background. It could have been anywhere. She said it was pretty. Then she said a workshop was starting and she would text later. I went about my day, laundry, kitchen, trying to enjoy having the place to myself, a game on TV, a frozen pizza on a plate because no one was judging me. Around 9, she messaged again. Dinner was fun. Everyone was drinking a little. She was tired. She loved me. Then, nothing. The next morning, one message. Slept like a rock. Busy day ahead. No photo, no details. Just a quick check-in. It was fine. It should have been fine. But the way it was fine started to feel rehearsed. Like she was doing the minimum required to keep the story running. That afternoon, her coworker Jordan posted an Instagram story. Madison had described Jordan as annoying but harmless. The kind of guy who tried too hard to be liked. I followed him because we met once at a company event and he added me. His story showed a group holding drinks in a warm room. Music, fairy lights, and couples. Actual couples, not just coworkers. I paused the story, watched it again. Madison's hair was in the corner. She was laughing. A man's arm was around her shoulder, not fully wrapped. Still close enough to look intimate. My chest tightened. The camera panned too fast for me to be sure about anything. But that arm stayed. My mind offered quick explanations. Maybe it was crowded. Maybe he was just leaning in. Maybe it meant nothing. Then I noticed something behind them. A large sign on the wall. The name of a lodge. The town printed under it. This was not a random cabin with bad signal. This was a resort. A resort with a bar, an event room, and enough service for Jordan to upload a story. I opened my map app and searched the town. 4 hours away, like she said. So that part was true. But the details around it were not. I sat on the couch with my phone in my hand and felt my brain doing what it does when it wants to protect itself. It offered excuses. Maybe the company booked a lodge, not a cabin. Maybe other departments invited partners. Maybe Madison thought it did not matter. Maybe the arm was nothing. I did not text her right away. I waited. That was my mistake and also my proof that I was not looking for drama. If I had been hunting for a fight, I would have jumped at the first sign. Instead, I tried to stay calm. Later that evening, I asked how the day was going. No response. An hour passed. I checked again. Nothing. Then, close to midnight, she replied with a neat little apology. Signal was terrible. They were exhausted from sessions. I stared at the message and felt heat rise in my face. Terrible signal, but Jordan had posted video. Exhausted, but everyone was drinking and dancing. I asked where she was staying. I wrote it like curiosity, not suspicion. Her answer returned to the original script. A cabin owned by the company. I asked if it was the lodge in Jordan's story. A long pause. Then a single line. Jordan was being dramatic. They only went there for dinner because the cabin kitchen was small. My stomach dropped. Not because of the lodge, because she answered like someone who already had the next page ready. I asked if partners were there. This time, she admitted it. Some people brought their spouses last minute. Then she tried to make it my fault. She did not tell me because she knew I would overthink. Overthink. That word landed like a pebble in my shoe. I let it go that night. I told myself I would talk to her when she got home. Face to face. No screen between us. I told myself I would not spiral. Saturday morning, silence. No check-in, no quick message. Around noon, I called. One ring, then voicemail. I called again, voicemail again. That is when the worry shifted. Not jealousy, concern. Because voicemail after one ring usually means the phone is off, or on airplane mode, or intentionally unreachable. My body did not cooperate with my attempt to stay calm. My mind started building images it did not want to build. I paced. I cleaned counters that were already clean. I checked my phone every few minutes like it was going to apologize. At 2, she finally texted. They were out on the lake. Phones were in a basket for the activity. A basket. That sounded like a rule. a rule someone makes when they do not want distractions, or when they do not want partners calling. I asked what activity. Team trust stuff, boats, life jackets, icebreakers, boring words again, the same feeling again. A story being told. I did not respond. I decided I needed reality, not text bubbles. So I did something I never thought I would do in this relationship. I drove up there, not to catch her, not to start a scene. I told myself I just needed to see where she was staying. I needed to quiet the part of my brain that was screaming. The only way to do that was to replace imagination with facts. I packed a bag, grabbed a hoodie, left. The drive felt longer than it should have. Every mile I rehearsed the conversation in my head. I would show up, say hi, bring her coffee, leave, be normal. She would laugh. Call me sweet, maybe even apologize for being unreachable. By the time I reached the town, it was late afternoon. The resort was easy to find. The same polished sign from the Instagram story. A parking lot full of cars. I parked across the lot and sat for a minute. My hands were sweating. I felt ridiculous. Then I saw her car. Unmistakable. The small dent on the back bumper from when she clipped a cart at the grocery store. The sticker she refused to remove because it was from her college. Her car was parked close to the entrance, not at some cabin in the woods, at the resort. I got out and walked toward the lobby. I did not even know what I was going to do once I was inside. I just kept moving because stopping would mean admitting I was scared of what I might see. The lobby smelled like pine and overpriced candles. Couples walked around in weekend clothes. A few people wore lanyards, like there were still company sessions happening. Near the front, a welcome table had the company name printed on a sign. So yes, this was the place. I headed toward the restaurant area. Then I heard her laugh. That laugh was familiar enough that it felt like someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned. Madison was at the bar. She sat on a stool, angled toward a man I had never seen before. His hand rested on the small of her back like it belonged there. She leaned in close, talking with her face turned up toward him. This was not casual coworker body language. This was date body language. My first instinct was to step back, like I could undo the sight by moving away from it. I stood behind a pillar and watched for a few seconds that felt like a full minute. He said something. She smiled and touched his arm. Then she slid her phone across the bar and showed him something on the screen. So the signal was fine. My stomach twisted. I wanted to march up. But I knew what would happen if I did. I would become the dramatic boyfriend who showed up uninvited. She would get to tell everyone a story about me. I wanted control. So I stayed back. A group came over and greeted them. Coworkers. I recognized a couple faces from photos she had shown me. They laughed, clinked glasses. Then the group moved toward a private room. A sign on the door said, "Reserved." Madison stood up with the man. They walked together. Not like coworkers, like a pair. My legs felt heavy, but I followed at a distance. The door to the reserved room was open. Inside were round tables, a small stage, and a microphone stand. It looked like a company dinner. The vibe felt more like a party. I lingered near the entrance, half hidden. They took seats at a table near the center. The man pulled her chair out for her. She laughed. He leaned in and whispered something. She tilted her head, smiling like she liked being chosen. I did not recognize him. I recognized the dynamic. This was what people do when they are trying to be picked. Something shifted in me. Panic cooled into clarity. I took my phone out and texted her. "Where are you?" I watched her phone light up on the table. She glanced at it, then flipped it over, without hesitation. Then she leaned into the man again like my message did not exist. I waited. I texted again. "Are you at the cabin?" This time she did not even look. I put my phone away. I stepped out quietly and walked back toward the lobby. I did not want a confrontation in front of coworkers. I did not want to beg. I did not want to argue. I wanted to end it with dignity. I went to the front desk. I asked if there were any cabins owned by the company nearby. The woman smiled politely and explained the company had a block of rooms at the resort. Not cabins. Some employees were also staying at the partner lodge down the road, still booked through the resort. I thanked her and walked away, feeling the last layer of denial peel off. There was no cabin. There was no bad signal. There was a resort, a dinner, a man, and a girlfriend who chose to ignore me while her phone sat right in front of her. I went back to my car and sat there for a long time. My head was loud. My heart was strangely quiet. I realized something in that moment. Even if I confronted her and she offered an explanation, it would still be a relationship where I had to drive 4 hours to confirm the truth. That is not love. That is probation. I drove home. The whole way, I did not cry. I did not scream. I did not call anyone. I just drove with a tight jaw and a plan forming. By the time I got back, it was late. I walked into our apartment and saw her things everywhere. The weight of all the small choices hit me. Groceries together, hair ties on every surface. Her hand in mine in public like I was her person. I sat at the kitchen table and made a list on paper. Not a dramatic list. A practical one. What was mine? What was hers? What accounts we shared? What subscriptions were in both our names? I felt like I was planning an exit from a building that was already on fire. Around 1 in the morning, she texted, "Hey, sorry, long day, you awake?" I stared at it. I did not answer. Then she called. I let it ring. She called again. I answered the third time because I wanted my voice steady. She asked where I was. Home. She laughed like she was relieved. Then she said she had been worried because I did not respond. I asked where she was. A pause. Then she tried the old line again. At the cabin. The words sounded red, not lived. I said I was at the resort. Silence. Not confusion. Not surprise. Silence. Then she asked what I was talking about. I told her what I saw. The bar, the man, the hand on her back, the front desk confirming there was no cabin. Her breathing changed. Then the anger showed up. Why were you there? Were you spying? Had you lost your mind? I listened with a strange detachment. Same pattern as always, just louder. No apology, only attack. I told her I came because she was unreachable and I was worried. That turned into another label. Controlling, embarrassing, making things about me. I asked who the man was. Her explanation came out smooth. A client. Important. Networking. And I was sabotaging her career with my insecurity. Networking does not look like a hand on the small of your back. Networking does not look like ignoring your boyfriend while you sit at a party table like a couple. I told her to stop. I told her I was not going to argue about what I saw with my own eyes. She started crying, then bargaining. It was not what it looked like. Everyone was drinking. She made a mistake by not telling me the truth because she knew I would react. There it was again. My reaction as the excuse. My feelings as the cover. I told her we were done. She went quiet. Then she asked if I was serious. Yes, I told her to pack her things when she got home and move out. She said she could not just move out. There was a lease. We were building a life. I could not throw it away over one weekend. I told her it was not one weekend. It was the lying, the rehearsed stories, the way she turned my concern into a character flaw, the way she ignored me while she let another man touch her. I told her I did not want to be a man who had to compete for his girlfriend's attention. I ended the call. I blocked her for the night. Not forever. Just long enough to sleep without my phone vibrating like a shock collar. The next morning, I called my landlord and asked what options we had if one tenant wanted out. I asked calmly. I took notes. No ranting. I treated it like a business decision. In a way, it was. My peace had become a budget item. I also contacted the bank and removed her access from our shared savings account. I did not empty it. I protected what was mine. I moved my portion out, left hers, and documented it. At noon, she showed up. She walked in carrying her bag like she expected to apologize and have everything reset. Her eyes were puffy. Her makeup looked rushed. She looked like she had been crying, then practicing a face in the mirror. She started talking immediately. Apologies, regrets, a claim that she should have told me partners were there. Another claim that she knew it looked bad. Then the truth kept shifting. The man was not a client. He was a friend of her manager. She did not want to tell me because she knew I would think the worst. Then she said the sentence that ended any chance of me doubting myself. She liked the attention. She felt invisible at home sometimes. Being around that man made her feel exciting again. It did not mean she did not love me. I listened and felt my chest ache, not with confusion, with finality. Because love that needs secrecy is not love I want. I told her I appreciated the honesty. It came too late. I told her she could take the bedroom to pack. I would stay in the living room. She stared at me like she expected me to crack. Then her tone shifted again. Cold, punishing. I was not perfect either. I nodded. Maybe. Then I said the difference was simple. I did not build a secret weekend story to keep a door open with someone else. That made her angry. She told me I was overreacting. She told me I would regret it. She told me no one would put up with my trust issues. I let her talk until she ran out of air. Then I asked for one thing. Show me the messages between you and him. She refused. Private, no right. I nodded again. Then I said the part that mattered. If you will not show me the truth, you do not get to ask me to stay. That was the end. She packed in silence for a while. Occasionally slamming a drawer-like sound could rewrite reality. Clothes, shoes, makeup, chargers. Then she took the plant. That made me laugh. A short sound I did not expect. Not because it was funny, because it was so perfectly Madison. Organized to the end. Controlling the smallest details even while losing the big thing. When she carried her last bag out, she paused at the door. She said she never thought I would actually leave. I said neither did I. Then I closed the door. The first night alone felt strange. The apartment sounded bigger. The silence had corners. But it also felt clean. Like my body could finally unclench. Over the next week, I handled the practical stuff. Lease paperwork, changing passwords, splitting bills, returning her mail, quiet work, unromantic, necessary. She tried to pull me back in through texts from different numbers. Apologies, blame, missing me, calling me cruel, promises to do anything. Then, 2 days later, she posted photos from the weekend. A smiling group shot at the resort. Fairy lights, cocktails. And in one photo, her and the man. Close, his hand on her waist, her head tilted toward him. The caption talked about growth, gratitude, and new connections. I stared at it and felt the last thread snap. Not anger, relief. Because it meant I did not have to wonder if I was being dramatic. I did not have to question if I imagined the intimacy. She displayed it like a trophy. I blocked her everywhere. I also deleted the photos of us from my phone. Not because I wanted to erase the past, because I did not want to keep reopening it. Some memories are not lessons. They are anchors. A month later, a mutual friend told me Madison was dating that man. Apparently it started right after the retreat. Apparently she told people we had been struggling and that the relationship ended naturally. I did not correct it. I did not defend myself. I did not chase the truth in other people's mouths. I just kept building my life without her. Here is what I learned. People who respect you do not need elaborate cover stories. People who love you do not call your concern controlling while they build secrecy behind your back. And the biggest one, If you ever have to drive 4 hours to confirm reality, you already have your answer. I did not lose her at that resort. I lost her the moment she decided my trust was something to manage instead of something to honor. And I gained something more important. I gained the ability to choose peace without begging for permission.